What the hell is this? Somebody filled my stash with 1000 grand charms? Can't wait to identify this.
Gaming. Gaming.
Good evening everybody, I'm Sir Fox and welcome back to my channel Sir Fox Gaming. This time I identified a staggering amount of 1000 grand charms to get all those good skillers we all need. Every single grand charm you see in this video is found at the Lower Kurast when I did my 10,000 Lower Kurast run project. Before we start, hit the like button, push the bell and subscribe to my channel if you already aren't. Enough talking, let's get into the video. And this is the first grand charm that I can really use. It's a really good one. It's a 1 to cold skills and 12 faster hit recovery. Very nice start. And here is my second skiller. It's a 1 to bow and crossbow skills for Amazon. This one is pretty useful if you need some mana for your character because it gives 57 to mana and 34 to life. The next one is another mana charm. It gives 56 to mana and as a bonus it gives 26 to extra gold. The very next identification I was really happy about because it was to a sorceress and it is 1 to sorceress lightning skills. The next skiller I identified was a pretty good one. It is 1 to combat skills for paladin and the bonus is crap with 15 to poison damage over 4 seconds. Only 2 identifications later is another skiller. It's a combat skiller, this time for barbarian with a crap bonus of 1 to maximum damage. And this must be a combat skiller streak because the next No 30 grand charm is another 1 to combat skills, this time for paladin. The very next grand charm is another skiller. It's a crap 1 to curses necromancer and furthermore it adds 1 to 2 fire damage. Useless shit. Luckily the next skiller is way better. It's a 1 to javelin and spear skills for the Amazon. Only 2 identifications later is a pretty useless skiller for me. It's 1 to martial arts assassin. The next skiller I get is 1 to bow and crossbow skills for the Amazon. Only 4 identifications later is another skiller. It's 1 to fire skills for the sorceress. The bonus is pretty crap with 4 to maximum damage. And the game is trolling me. It gives me a skiller with 36 to life. Unfortunately the skiller is a crap 1 to masteries for barbarian. Boo fucking who. Another page and another disappointment because it's a 1 to masteries skiller. But here is a really nice one. It's for my lightning sorceress. It is a 1 to lightning skills grand charm. Thank you very much. The next skiller I get is another useful one. It's a 1 to javelin and spear skills. 11 identifications later gives me a 1 to shape-shifting skills for the druid. And this one will be useful when I someday find my death rep to make a poison necromancer. It is a 1 to poison and bone skills. Some identifications later I get a skiller for the paladin. It is 1 to offensive auras. Only 2 identifications later I get a pretty good one if I want to make a melee druid someday, because this one gives 1 to shape-shifting skills and 12 faster hit recovery. My next skiller is another Paladin skiller. It's 1-2 offensive auras. My next skiller is for the Druid. Unfortunately, it's 1-2 summoning skills and it has a bonus of 7 to faster run walk speed. And yet another useless skiller occurs. It is 1-2 passive and magic skills for the Amazon. But only 2 identifications later I get a good skiller, and it is for the sorceress, and it is 1-2 cold skills. Thank you. And finally I get a useful skiller for the Druid. It is 1-2 elemental skills with a secondary stat of 1-7 lightning damage. Only 6 identifications later I get another useful skiller for the sorceress. It is 1-2 cold skills. And only 7 identifications later I get another martial arts skiller for the assassin. And this one is a pretty cool dual stats Grand Charm with 57 to mana and 35 extra gold from monsters. 4 pages and over 100 identifications without any skillers. I get this one. It is a 1-2 poison and bone skills necromancer. Not so many identifications later I get a pretty good one. It is 1-2 fire skills and 16 to life. The life could have been better, but I still take it. 30 identifications later I get my third 1-2 martial arts skiller for assassin. At this point I have identified over 600 Grand Charms, and Grand Charm number 627 gives me a 1-2 passive and magic skills and a bonus with 8 to life. This one is a good identification because it's another 1-2 skills for the sorceress. You can never have too many of these. Several pages later, without fighting jack shit, I get a 1-2 shape-shifting skills for the Druid. The next No 30 Grand Charm I really like because it's an all to resistance 15 Grand Charm. Really nice. And yet another skiller for the Amazon Killer. It's a 1-2 bow and crossbow skills and 1-6 lightning damage. And here is a useless one. It's 1-2 defensive auras for the Paladin. And yet another one for Paladin with 1-2 defensive auras with a bonus of 12 to faster hit recovery. And yet another skiller for the Paladin. This time it is 1-2 offensive auras. Finally I get a useful one for the assassin. It is 1-2 traps with a bonus of 13 to life. Pretty nice Grand Charm if you ask me. Only 4 identifications later I get a pretty nice Grand Charm if you ask me. It is a 38 to life with all resistances 14. Pretty nice. I have now identified over 900 Grand Charms and we are coming towards the end. This time I identified a 1-2 offensive auras with 4 to strength. Another nice Grand Charm with dual stats. It is 19 to life and all resistances 15. Very nice. Only 40 identification left, and this one rolled me a 1-2 defensive auras and 6 to poison damage over 3 seconds. And this is the last No 30 Grand Charm out of the 1000 identifications. I finish off pretty good with a 1-2 combat skills for Barbarian with a bonus stat of 22 to life. And that was the results of my 1000 Grand Charm identification video. In total I found 41 skillers, which I think is in the low end of identifying 1000 Grand Charms. I did expect to find some more grand charms with damage, attack rating and life, but I think that the item level at a low Cuirassed doesn't allow to let the ones with the high attack rating, damage and life drop. But guys, let me know in the comments what you thought about these findings. There is nothing left to say but hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you like my content. And next video will probably be 1000 pit runs, which is my second video doing that. Until next time guys, take care and bye bye.